let us see. So what will happen? There is a cervix bone which is connecting the womb, that is what uterus, to the vagina. So vagina is actually, it is during the ejaculation of sperms from the penis. So this is a vagina is the region where it will receive the sperms collection. That is what the semen of a male body, and then it is see that. So it will allows the sperm to pass through the cervix, and then it will pass through the uterus, and it will passes through the fallopian tubes. Both the sides it will be. And there, if by the time egg is released by the ovaries, any one of the ovary only will release the egg. Please remember. So then the sperms will start swimming and they will undergoes the fertilization. So also the baby also, if it is natural delivery, the baby also will come from the vagina only. So that is why it is also we can call as birth canal. So which will give the birth to the baby. That is why it is called as birth canal. Are you clear, everybody? Once the baby will completely develops inside the mother's womb, then it will be started coming out. So remember, the opening for passing out, if you notice it, the baby once after development, that is what we used to call vagina, which we used to call as birth canal. But if you notice it here, in male reproductive system, for ejaculating the for releasing of semen and as well as urine, there is a single opening. But in female body, if you notice it, the opening for urine and the vagina for collecting the sperm and as well as birth, giving the birth to the baby, both are not same. It is a different openings for passing out the urine. That is what we used to call as urethra. So urethra is different for female reproducing. They are having a different opening for ejaculating urine and giving the birth to the baby. So that is what is the difference between male reproductive system and female reproductive system. So if you notice it here, the female reproductive system is actually a more complex than that of male reproductive system. So you can see the function of female reproductive system. It is basically very, very necessary for the union of sperms and as well as ovum. That is what fertilization of eggs and as well as ovum. Because for male reproductive system, millions of sperms will be released at one time. But female reproductive system, it is like monthly one egg only it will be released for the female bodies. So it is number is extremely less. Of course, there are present thousands of unmatured, unripened eggs are present. That is what polycells. But the mature polycell will release only once in a month. That is also from any one of the ovary. Suppose now this is a September month. September month will release it by this ovary. They don't know it is September or October. Just I am saying you. So then next after certain period of time, so then this ovary will release the matured egg. After that again this ovary. After that again this ovary. So left ovary, right ovary. That is what you have to remember. So this is how the female reproductive system is existed and how now we are going to study. So now during the copulation or the mating, so once the male reproductive system will ejaculate or will releases the semen into the female body through the vagina, so they will start entering into the vagina and they will pass us with the help of semen it is, so that all the sperms will start swimming through the cervix. That is what this narrow opening, and they will enter into the uterus part and they will start moving into the both the sides of fallopian tubes. Why both the sides, sir? Because they don't know correct in which tube it is released the egg. We don't know. Do you understand, everybody? So they will start swimming into the both the sides. So in which side egg is released by that time? So if egg is released at that time, so what will happen? They will undergoes the fertilization and they will turn up into the what? Fertilized egg. We used to call something. What is that called, all of you? We used to say zygote. Okay. So now you can notice it here. So this is how it will be taking place. Only one side of, yeah. Who is the top? Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. So now this is how only one part of the one fallopian tube is only I am showing. It will be takes place in anything. Are you clear, everybody? All of you understanding? So it is only I am showing it one region of the fallopian tube. So it maybe takes place in the any side it is. Okay. So this is the fertilization in humans to form a what? Everybody. Fertilization in humans to form a fertilized egg, which is to called as all of you, which is called as zygote. So zygote is called as fertilized egg. So remember, through the vagina, when the sperms are released into the female body, ejaculated in the female body, they will start entering into any direction. Understand, any fallopian tube. They will enters. By the time you can see the matured egg is released into the fallopian tubes. So the sperms will reach us there, and there what will happen? Fertilization will occur. So it will take place inside the female body. That is why we used to call it as internal fertilization. Because we'll study after a while, we'll study what is the types of fertilization. So if it is fertilization occurs inside the female body, that is called as internal fertilization. If fertilization occurs outside the female body, that is what we used to call it as external fertilization. For example, frogs and all, you might be notice it. Internal or external fertilization? Frogs. It is external fertilization. Of course, we will study that. Okay. So in humans, it is internal fertilization. So what will happen? The sperm made in the testis, that is what male reproductive system, once it will be ejaculated into the vagina of the woman through the penis during the mating. So what will happen? In the millions of sperms are released. It is not one, millions of sperms are released into the vagina at a single time. So these sperms are basically very, very highly active. That is what we used to say motility. Understanding? So the sperms are which is highly active and as well as mobile. Mobile means what, guys? Moving capacity. Moving or mobile we used to call it as. So they are having highly active and mobile. So these sperms will start moving through up. That is what? Through the cervix to the uterus to the fallopian tubes, both the sides. So what will happen? From the uterus, the sperms will passes to the fallopian tubes, and finally they will reach us to the egg. So any one of the oviduct, either maybe it is a left side or right side, that is based upon the, as I said, every time they will be exchanging. So one time if this side will be released, it means another time this side will be released. So once during that time, when the egg is released during that time, if the male and female body will involve in the mating, then what will happen? It will be turn up, it will undergoes the fertilization. So here you can see clearly. So fertilization occurs. So what will happen? Everybody, so only one sperm only will fuse us with the ovum in the oviduct, and it will be turned up into the zygote. So please remember, as soon as one sperm will hit and it will enters into the inside the female cell, that is what sex cell, reminding that the surface of the egg will become very hard. So our further sperms cannot be break that. That is the natural phenomena which will occurs in the female body. As soon as the sperm which will be highly motile, all the sperms will go and will attack the egg. So whatever the sperm which will reaches inside the female cell very quickly, once any one it will breaks, immediately what will happen? Remaining entire surface will become very hard, so that no other sperm will break this egg. Okay. So now once it will reaches yesterday we studied the structure of sperm. So the nucleus of the sperm, that is what the head of the sperm will reaches inside. A tail will cut. What is the importance of tail? It is a flagellum. What is the importance of tail? Which will help only for what purpose, guys? Which will help only for swimming purpose. Understanding? So to swim, to move easily, it will help. So as soon as the egg will the sperm will breaks the egg, so that what will happen? it will goes inside it, it will fuses, it will fertilize with the nucleus of the egg so that it will turn up into the zygote. So the fertilization of the ovum takes place inside the oviduct or fallopian tubes. So that is how the fertilization will take place. So fertilization will take place to form the what? Everybody? To form the fertilized egg, which we used to call as, what is that called? All of you, please respond. Which is known as
Zygote.
zygote. Okay, so that is how it will be taking place. Then what will happen further? So one egg, only one sperm can break. As soon as one sperm will break, over it is. So further, no other sperm can break the egg, because immediately the chemical will be released by the egg, so that the surface of the egg will turn up into very, very hard, so that no other can break, no other male reproductive cell can break the egg. So that is how fertilization occurs. So fertilization occurs means then what will form, guys? It will form the zygote. Okay. Now, this zygote undergoes the process, that is what? Cell division. So what will happen? It will be turned up into the embryo. So that is how it will be taking place. You can see here, very clear picture it is, even HD picture it is. So what will happen, all of you can notice it. So fertilization occurs, the male reproductive cell will breaks it and it will be fuses with the female one. So now this is called as zygote. So zygote is developed. Are you clear, everybody? So now this zygote, it will undergoes the cell division. You can see like zygote divides rapidly by the process of mitosis. Please note it. By the process of mitosis, rapidly means very, very fastly, undergoes rapidly, and slowly it will start moving in the fallopian tubes. Okay, and it will form a halo ball of hundreds of cell. Halo ball of hundreds of cell. That halo ball of hundreds of cell is only we used to call embryo. What we used to call, everybody? All of you? That is what we used to call as embryo. But before that, I'm saying you, we may also call like 5 days, 3 days after fertilization, 5 days after fertilization, which we used to call as blastocyst. Okay, so please note it. We used to call as blastocyst. 5 days embryo, 5 days fertilized egg, or 3 days embryo fertilized egg, we used to call as blastocyst. Then by the time it will reaches to the mother's womb, what is that called as? Mother's womb we used to call something. Everybody? We used to call as
Uterus.
Okay, so now you can notice it. So what will happen? When it will reaches to the time of uterus, it will turn up into a halo ball of hundreds of cells. So this halo ball of cell is only we used to called as, what is that called? Everybody? We used to called as embryo. Clear, everyone? So this embryo, which will start penetrating or sink into the soft lining of uterus. You can notice it. Soft lining of uterus. This is actually uterus. So the blood vessels will form into a like a bed. How we are sleeping very soft. Like that, the embryo will sinks into that. You can see here, it is breaking and it will sinks into the a soft and thick lining of uterus, and it will get embedded or stuck. Embedded, that is what? Embedded in it. So this is the process we used to call as implantation. Means attaching the egg, which egg? Fertilized egg, embryo, to the walls of the uterus, we used to call as implantation. Implantation is the very crucial part of development of baby. If implantation fails, it is only we used to call as abortion. Like like natural abortion, the baby will come out. Baby means undeveloped, that is what the group of cells which we used to call, that is what embryo will come out from the female body. That is only we used to call as menstruation. We will study that, of course. Okay. If fertilization fails, also menstruation. If implantation fails also, it will lead to the menstruation. That is all we will discuss. You can see This is the embryo. It is a halo, hundreds of cells, which is what halo, a ball of hundreds of cells. Now, actually, you can notice it. This is the wall of the uterus. Now, this egg, the embryo will hit the walls of the uterus. It will sink, or it will embedded, attached to the, by breaking the walls of the cells of this uterus, it will attach to this embryo. It will sink into this soft and thick lining of the uterus. That is the process we used to call as, what is to call, everybody? Please respond. Which we used to call as, everybody? Implantation. So write it. The embedding of embryo in the thick lining of the uterus. Embedding means attaching. Write it. Embedding of embedding of embedding of embedding of embryo in the thick lining of the uterus is called implantation. I hope you all understanding. Harish, clear everything? So the structures, why it is, you should know how it will be taking place. Understanding? So very, very important, these all the things. This is what will happen. So implantation of embryo in the uterus. So development of embryo is over. So after that, what will happen? After implantation, so slowly you can see a disc-like special tissue develops between the uterus wall and the embryo. That is only called as placenta. The most important in breath. After 45 days, you can see of fertilization almost, we will get a heartbeat for the baby. We can hear the first heartbeat for the baby. So that by that time onwards, 8th week of gestation period, that is what the total, what is the total actually for humans, what is the gestation period, like average duration of pregnancy, you all people knows about how many months? 9 months. Understanding? So 9 months means how many weeks, guys? 38 weeks almost. So between 8th to 10th week of fertilization, the most important part, which we used to call a disc-like tissue, which will be connecting part between the fetus and the placenta, that is what embryo and the mother's womb, that is what we used to call as placenta. So please remember. And the embryo also we can call as fetus. Note it. Fetus or embryo. Okay. So after implantation only it will takes place. Now I am going to erase this all because I am going to show you that. So this is the picture which you will experience it more, and most important one. So what will happen after that? Everybody write it. In female body, internal fertilization or external fertilization? Humans. Everybody. It is
Internal.
internal fertilization. Okay. Now you can notice it. The most important one is after implantation. I hope you all understanding what is implantation. Attaching the embryo to the walls of the uterus. By what? By breaking the lining of the walls. That is what blood vessels and all, which is, we'll study that also. Okay. So now what will happen? Formation of placenta. The most important part. See that I am it is a very like what it is, a magnified image. So basically it will form a disc-like structure. You can notice in this picture a disc-like structure which is forming a connecting tissue, a special tissue which will develops between the uterus wall. That is what is our center. You can notice it. After birth, everybody's, we will get that that they will cut that and they will tie it. Do you all notice it, everybody? All of you, please respond, guys. That is only we used to called as umbilical cord, a pipe-like structure which is connecting the mother's and the mother's body and baby. Yes, please respond. You know or not? Don't know this pipe-like structure which is connecting the mother's body to that. So this disc-like structure only, what we used to call, everybody? What is this disc-like structure we used to called as? Please respond. Is only called as placenta. Understanding, Amma? So this placenta is full of blood cells and all, which is the only source for supplying all the food or whatever oxygen, food, everything which is required for the baby. And also the excretion of babies, the wastage of baby, like gases or whatever it is, Again, it will reaches to the mother's body only through this placenta. A baby cannot breathe. A baby cannot through anything through the nose or mouth after development also. Only placenta, through the placenta only. That is why placenta is the most important part where it will connecting the baby to the mother's body. Understand everybody? So this after implantation only, this disc-like placenta, this disc-like tissue will develop. That is what we used to call as, what we used to call everybody, placenta. Understanding? So these placenta actually it is connected to the baby by a tube-like structure. That tube-like structure only we used to call, what is that called, all of you? Umbilical cord. Write it and learn it, everybody. Clear? So through the placenta only, all the requirements for the development of fetus, like nutrition, respiration, excretion, every process, all the like life processes, nutrition for the development of baby, and respiration, air, respiration for the releasing of energy, and as well as excretion. So all the wastage and all by the baby, everything will be again received by the mother's bodies only. So they are met from the mother's body. So that is why the exchange of nutrients, oxygen, waste products between the embryo and the mother takes place through the what, guys? Everybody, takes place everything through the what? The one and only thing, that is what we used to call as placenta. Clear everyone? That is the importance of placenta. Now the structure of placenta you can see. This is very important. Placenta is made up of like complete blood cells and all. Like you can see like villi-like structures. Have you noticed the villi-like structures here? Anybody? Please respond, guys.
Yes.
Villi, see they mentioned here. So the villi is actually present. What is the importance of villi? Very important question. Anybody?
Exchange of gases.
No. What is the use of villi in small intestine? That is also here also same use. What is the importance of villi in small intestine? Anybody? Yes, sorry, increases the surface area, because see here what is the use of villi? Because a baby needs lot of energy, lot of nutrients should exchange. So mothers cannot be provided that all, like if there is no large surface area. So exchanging it will be takes place like more time it will take to exchange all the things, because continuous supply of everything. That is why. So what will happen? It will be like it will be projections, like finger-like projections. So for the easy exchanging of wastage. Do you understand everybody? All of you clear? Everyone? So what will happen? There will be a projections. Here you can see the beautiful picture. You can notice it. Of finger-like projections are present. What is the use of it? That is what I'm asking. Which will increases the rate of nutrition or respiration or excretion, because surface area increases. So that what will happen? The exchange of all the things will be also very faster. So that is the reason it will be the structure which is present looks like that. Are you understanding everybody? A disc-like structure which will develops after the embryo. What is that called? Everybody? After implantation. After implantation, which we used to called as what? A disc-like structure which is called as placenta.
Placenta.
Between the baby and the placenta, a connecting tube which we used to call. What is the connecting tube we used to call as? All of you? Yes, please.
Umbilical cord.
Umbilical cord. Clear? So now you can see that blood vessels are, like you can see, they are attached to they are not joined actually. So you can see the blood vessels are close to each other, and they will help. They are not attached here. So this is basically you can see that this is the uterus wall actually, uterus wall. And here they are not attached, just the placenta is forming. So there is a finger-like projections which will increases the absorption rate of oxygen or whatever it is required for respiration. So basically these placenta will forms in the female body at this region. You can notice it. So this is the region, uterus. This is the uterus where the placenta will develops once the implantation occurs. Clear everyone? I hope you all understanding. All of you. Please respond, Amma.
Yes,
Yes?
sir.
Yeah. So this is how it will be takes place. So this placenta formation and everything is very important. You can remember any picture, this anything. So this is the uterine wall. You can see that. So uterus wall. This is the uterus wall. See that the blood vessels are not attached. Do you understand, everybody? The embryo blood vessels are close to the mother blood vessel, but they are not joined. Are you able to see it everything clearly in this picture? All of you? Please respond, Amma. So actually, they are the two set of blood vessels. They are just close to each other. They are not attached. Okay. So like oxygen, nutrients, and all the wastage can pass between them, between the two blood supplies. This everything will be exchanged. So here to increase the surface area, there will be a finger-like projections, which we used to called as villi. That's all it is. So nothing else is there. So this is what is how the baby will develops in the things. Then once it will be placenta will forms, till that baby like everything will be the energy will only provided to that. Then it is very highly blood rich amount. Blood supplies will be extremely high because of the surface area greater. So baby needs more development of baby required more energy. So that is why here the rich supply of blood will be there highly more. So now once this placenta will forms, so what will happen? The fetus will start growing further. That is what we can say. Embryo, after it will be turn up into fetus, that's little growth. You can notice it. This is called as fetus. Still, we cannot identify the proper organs. So that is what we used to say fetus. So after that, what will happen? It will take about the total period is 38 weeks. That is the time we used to called as gestation period. So it is different for different organs. Understanding? Elephants, it is around 600 days, means almost 2 years it is. Humans, it is almost 1 year, 9 months. Understanding? Rats, cats, this and all, it will be around 3 months. Each 3 months, dog will give the birth to the babies. So the time period from the fertilization up to the birth of a baby, from the time of fertilization to the birth, we used to call as what we used to call everybody fertilization to the birth, we used to call as gestation period. Please note it. To the birth of a baby, birth of the baby, we used to call as what, everybody? We used to call as gestation period. For humans, how many weeks, guys? All of you? 38 weeks, or we can say 9 months. So during this time, what will happen, sir? The baby will develop, the embryo will develop, the fetus will develop, it will grows, and finally it will becomes into a baby. So after how many months, everybody? After almost the total period is 9 months. So after that, it will turn up into a baby. You can see here. So it will be complete baby will develop. Okay. So birth begins when the strong muscles in the walls of the uterus start to contract rhythmically. So that is what will happen. So once the baby will completely develop, the muscles in the uterus, you can notice it, they will undergoes the contraction. That is what you can see in our NCERT book also. The last word, what is the use of how the baby will come out? The contraction of rhythmic contraction of the uterus muscles will push the baby outside. That is what the strong muscles in the walls of the uterus, they will contract rhythmically. Rhythmically means there is order, a proper order, so that the baby will be pushed outside. So the rhythmic contraction of uterus muscles, gradually they will pump or they will push the baby out of the mother's body through the opening outside part, that is only called as vagina. That is why vagina is called as, what is that called, everybody? Birth canal.
But
Clear? So that is how the baby is born after 9 months of gestation period from the time of fertilization. So that is how it will be coming. So this is what is the female reproductive system. If fertilization fails, then what will happen? How it will be take place? That all the things we'll discuss in the next class. That is what. If the sexual cycle fails. That is what the fertilization fails. The time of releasing of egg, if there is no male cells reaches to there, then what will happen? That is we'll discuss in our coming class. So that is what is about its remaining. So then what is the menarche and menopause in the females? And then tomorrow we'll discuss birth control. Now for today's class, the few more things I want to say you. So that is what I am saying you, write it, all of you. At the birth, the ovaries already contains, remember, thousands of immature eggs. So these eggs mature only during the puberty period. All of you remember, once the conceive, that is what, once one egg will be fertilized, remember, unless the gestation period over, these ovaries will never mature another egg. Do you understand what I'm saying, everybody? So if the fertilization fails, again the next month the egg will be released by the any one of the ovary. If fertilization occurs, if that embryo will implant on the uterus wall, then what will happen, everybody? Both embryos will be inactive. They will never release the another matured egg unless the baby, the gestation period over and the baby will come out from the mother's womb. That is all naturally it will happen. That's what we can say is there is no kind of stop button for them. So once implantation happens, that is what we can say is feedback mechanism. Yes, implantation occurs. It is not required to mature the one more egg so that it will be inactive. Are you clear, everybody? But it will be active to release the what? Hormones. Once the implantation occurs, always two hormones has to be released. What is that? Everybody. Estrogen and as well as
Projection.
progesterone. Okay. So that is how it will be taking place. Now, the uterus, I am saying you. So uterus is actually like it's a muscular thick walled organ. So in female about it is around 7 centimeter long. Our female body 7 centimeter long, and long is length is 7 centimeter, 5 centimeter broad, and as well as 2.5 centimeter thick. So that is what we used to call it. Okay. So this is the dimensions of uterus. Next, vagina. Vagina is around 7 to 10 centimeters in length, and this is the organ where the sperm will be enters and the baby will come outside during the sexual intercourse. It will goes inside, and during the birth time it will be coming out. So that is what we used to say. It is a duct for passage of sperms as well as the baby. And in female, there is a separate opening for secretion of that is what we can say the urination, that is different. But menstrual cycle, if the fertilization fails, the uterine secretion will flow also through this vagina only. So that is the about the uterus and all. Next, you can say ovaries. So you can see the basically the ovaries, you can see the you can notice it, two ovaries are there, and the ovaries are attached to tubes. That is what we used to say fallopian tubes or oviducts. They are about 10 to 15 centimeter long in humans. Both this is also 10 to 15 and this is also 10 to 15 in female reproductive system. So they are actually at one end they'll completely cover like a funnel like structure, which will be like they're not attached to the ovaries. They're almost covers the ovaries, finger like projections, so that egg will directly releases. Okay, guys, I hope you all understand. This is what is about the female reproductive system. Completely I discussed, and yesterday itself I taught you the structure of it. Then tomorrow we'll discuss what happens when egg is not fertilized. Egg is not fertilized. So that is what menstrual flow we will study. And if the fertilization occurs, already I have taught you now. Gestation period, development of the embryo, fetus, and further baby. Everything will be taking place. That's all it is. So once it is over, then tomorrow we'll discuss if what happens when the egg is not fertilized. Then we'll directly go to the birth control. That is what reproductive health. Okay. This is what about it. Anybody having anything doubt, you can ask me, or else immediately take the NCERT book and go through the female reproductive body. Note my words. Any year, whatever it is, two questions always, two concepts. There will be a one concept out of these two. That is what? Either female reproductive system or male reproductive system. 100% you will be having a question based upon these two concepts. So kindly make it and keep working. Okay. Thank you, everybody. We'll meet in tomorrow's class.